Stenciling is a ton of fun until it starts to shift around and you start getting poor results. If you want to use a spray adhesive, but you don't want the smell, what are you going to do? Don't worry, I've got you. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. So here I have a great stencil, and I've got some ink, and I've got my blending brush, and I'm going to get ready to blend this. But look, I've got all of these little bits here that like to move a lot. So let's see what happens if I stencil this without any kind of adhesive underneath. You can see that even if I was holding these ends down, the center is going to want to move a lot. I can't really go around in a circle. I might have to kind of push the ink like so, but who wants to do that? And I'm going to end up with a really kind of crummy result. You can see that it was supposed to be white here, but I got green in that space. It's just really not great. So how am I going to fix this problem? Normally, you would grab some spray adhesive, spray the backside, wait for it to dry, and then stick it down and have no problem. But if you're in a space where you can't use a spray adhesive because it's too smelly, then you really don't have too many options. So I'm going to show you how to create your very own pump spray adhesive using some leftovers that you probably already have sitting around. So I'm going to start off with a spray bottle, and this is just a regular pump spray, so there's no aerosol in this. And to keep the odor down, we're going to use Tombow Multi-Mono Liquid Glue. Now, this is a bottle that I've been using for my projects. I love Tombow Multi, and I can't get all of the glue out of the inside of this. I can shake it and shake it and shake it, but I'm never going to get all the glue out. So I know there's a ton of glue in here. I'm going to take my scissors and cut it open. And I have to clean these scissors later, but that's no big deal. This is water-soluble glue. And look, it's all worked its way down from the one side. There is nothing in this side anymore. But look at all the glue sitting here waiting to be used. So I'm going to pop this into a paper cup here with this little popsicle stick I've got. Get it all in there. There we go. That's a ton of glue. All right, sometimes I even use a paintbrush and just paint it onto my pieces when I'm going to glue them down, but today we're going to make this glue spray. So I've got my glue in the bottom of this cup, and in this cup I've got some distilled water. And distilled water works best because it will keep your glue from going bad or trying to mold or mildew. So if you use distilled water, that helps. You don't have to if you're going to use your glue spray pretty quickly, but if it's going to sit around for a while, I recommend distilled. So I'm going to put in about twice as much water. So that's about, there we go. That's about twice as much. I'm just going to mix this. Now again, Tombow Multi is water soluble. So just take your time, and eventually that glue is going to go ahead and dilute in the water and turn into a glue slurry. So just a second here. There we go. Now I have this kind of milky white glue water. I'm going to go ahead and add it into my bottle. Now this bottle already has some in here. I'm just going to go ahead and top it off. There we go. And I am going to give it a little bit of a shake to make sure that the glue that was already in here plus this glue mixes well together. All right, so now I've got my glue spray. This is so awesome. I'm going to go ahead and spray up my stencil. I've got a piece of paper towel here. Got my stencil. Normally I would have cleaned this off, but we're still demonstrating with it, so we'll get back to that in a minute. I'm going to take my glue spray, make sure that it's nice and shook up, and hold it kind of a medium height. And go ahead and spray. Now at this point, I don't need my paper towel anymore. I can let this air dry. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes to air dry, unfortunately. But if you have a heat tool that has a high and a low setting, put it on low, hold it up at a higher height, and it will dry in about 3 to 5 minutes. So I'll see you on the other side of that. Now that this is dry, it's completely sticky. See, it is not coming up. And if you feel like it's going to be too sticky, you can always take your paper towel and just put it down on your paper towel once and lift it up to get rid of a little bit of that tack. Now remember, this is going to be a temporary adhesive, so it is going to come up off of your paper. It is going to stick to the back of your stencil even after you've finished with this. So I'll show you how to put it away in a minute after we do a little testing here. So here was our before. We had lots of bleed over underneath the stencil, especially on these little thin bits here. Now these always need a little bit of special attention. If you don't think that it's sticky enough to begin with, go ahead and spray it up twice, just to make sure that you get really good coverage on these thin layers. When you put it down, it should stick really well. See, it doesn't really have a lot of shifting to it. It may still shift a little bit, but the hope is at this point that you don't have any shifting at all. So now I can take my ink and go ahead and give this a try. As you can see, this is really sticking down well. I didn't have to use any aerosol spray and fill my room with fumes. And I'm going to get a beautiful result here. So let's take a look at what our after is here. Okay, so go ahead and lift this right up and look at the difference. This first one, I got so frustrated. It was coming underneath. I've got lots of bleed over into all the white areas. This area is crisp and clean and gorgeous. So as you can see, adding in some spray adhesive on the back of your stencils is going to make a huge difference, and creating some with your leftover Tombow into a pump sprayer keeps you from needing to use an aerosol spray in a closed space in your crafting room. So let's talk about storage real quick. It is sticky. It's going to stay sticky. You'll probably be able to use this a couple times before you need to spray it again. The tack is not really ever going to come off of this unless you really soak it and work on it really hard. So know that you're going to be spraying the backs of these and they're never going to be perfectly clean again. But I like to store them right on the packaging. So I've got my packaging from Ulta New here, plus the plastic. This is going to stick right on the plastic. And of course I would normally clean this off with a damp paper towel or a regular towel. And see, now it's going to stick on my plastic. It's not going to come off. I always put it in a little extra plastic sleeve here for perfect storage. And then when I want to use it again next, I just take it out, take it off of the plastic. You could hear it's stuck on there pretty good, but it didn't ruin the plastic or anything. And then I've got it sticky and ready to go for the next time. So there we go. Beautiful stenciling and an easy, no fuss, no smell pump spray that will help your stencils stick down on your projects and create beautiful crisp lines every time. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at Nicole Creates. I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.